Let us now have a look at some emergency situations that resulted because of vehicle accidents, that on public roads as well as on construction sites. In a survey taken in the United States, a person was killed every 13 minutes due to road accidents. As a plumber, you need to use the public roads on a daily basis to get to and from work. Let us now have a look at some key principles to keep in mind, as well as include in your emergency management plan for road use. Safe driving is essential, so obey the rules of the road and carry your driver's license with you. Plan the route and give yourself enough time to reach the destination. Use a GPS navigation tool or road atlas to plan your trip in advance. For peace of mind, try to stick to major routes or toll routes. If you are going to travel on the back roads, identify the towns along the route or what the distance is between them. Don't get stranded without fuel. Always plan ahead where you will be refueling. If you are going to be traveling far to site, plan rest stops along the way. Always ensure that your office is aware of the route that you are planning to travel. Ideally, you should want to update them on your progress of the journey and also let them know that you have reached your destination safely. But never be distracted by using your cell phone while driving. Try to avoid driving after dark if possible, and expect others not to be as obedient to the law as yourself. Employers should want to keep their vehicles in a roadworthy condition. We should have monthly vehicle inspections that check all lights, indicators, windscreen wipers, brakes, steering, exhaust systems, and tires. If possible, take your vehicle for a full check before embarking on long or far travels. Never overload your vehicle, and don't let others drive in the back of the buggy without seats. If you are traveling far, have a good rest before you go on your journey. Take safety breaks every 2 hours or every 200 kilometers if possible. Never drink and drive. If you intend to consume alcohol, make alternative arrangements so that you will not be behind the wheel. Remain alert at all times and avoid driver distractions such as cellular conversations or texting. Be responsible with seatbelt wearing. Always wear your seatbelt and see that everyone in your car is wearing theirs as well. The South African law requires each passenger being transported in a motor vehicle to make use of the seatbelts and strap themselves in. Remember, it is the driver's responsibility to make sure all passengers are strapped in and remain strapped in while traveling. Do you perhaps have a young one traveling with you? It is a criminal offense for an adult to allow a child younger than 14 years to travel unrestrained in a vehicle equipped with seatbelts or a car safety seat. At times, you may need defensive driving behavior. So, drive defensively, because risk takers are collision makers. Be visible, drive with your lights on, even in the day. Headlights should be dipped well before an approaching vehicle is within range of the main beam. Stay within the speed limit at all times. Be especially alert when approaching traffic lights, intersections, and level crossings. Only overtake when it is absolutely safe to do so. Maintain at least 2 seconds following distance. This distance should be increased at night, in foggy or raining conditions, and also when the road is wet. Avoid driving on the blind spot of other vehicles. Be courteous toward fellow road users. Keep your temper and resist the temptation to retaliate. Be cautious when driving alone and avoid stopping in remote areas. There are other dangers on our public roads. Remain alert to any areas that might present a threat of criminal activity, such as hijackings and smash and grab. Always place your valuables in the boot of your car and never leave items such as cell phones and wallets in open sight, unattended, or on the seat of a car. We should all try to recognize the safety of all road users. Try to recognize potentially dangerous drivers and pedestrians alongside the road and keep well clear of them. When walking near traffic, avoid distractions and be visible. Motorists should always be aware of pedestrians and animals on the road, specifically near more rural areas. Bikers should drive with their lights on and wear protective clothing at all times. Bikers should never hang out in a truck's blind spot or no zone. Be extra cautious, paying attention to the signals and brake lights of other vehicles, especially trucks. When cycling, remember that there is strength to be found in numbers. Do not go on the road alone, and rather find a partner to cycle with you. This will be very important, especially in the event of an emergency. Inform friends and family when you will be cycling, the road you will be cycling on, and when you can be expected to return. Carry a fully charged cellular phone with you so that you can request assistance in the event of an emergency. The law requires that you cycle in single file and with a safety helmet. If you are driving in challenging road conditions, always adjust your driving to the driving conditions and environment. If it is raining, turn your headlights and windscreen wipers on. Try to reduce speed and try not to brake suddenly. Often, there is oil and petrol on the road, which can cause you to skid out of control. If there is fog, reduce speed, turn headlights on low, or use fog lamps. Use the road markings or the verge of the road as a guide, and be very alert for sudden looming obstacles. Always keep in mind, if you cannot see or operate the vehicle safely, you should not be driving. Road rage is aggressive or angry behavior exhibited by motorists. These behaviors include rude and verbal insults, yelling, physical threats, or dangerous driving methods targeted at other drivers, pedestrians, or cyclists in an effort to intimidate or to release frustration. Let us look at 10 keys to avoid road rage. You may want to make this part of your safe working procedures or safe operating procedures of your company vehicle. This could avoid incidents and accidents that could lead to emergency situations. A key component of good driving is defensive driving, where you anticipate the actions of others. When you drive defensively, you know someone is going to cut you off long before they actually do. Adjust your driving style to allow another motorist to cut in and save yourself the anger that comes with taking evasive action at the last second. It is very important never to drive fatigued, as it will also raise your aggression levels. Do not get into your car when you are angry. Give yourself some time to cool off before driving. Otherwise, even the smallest mistake from another driver will seem much bigger than what it is. While some may use driving as a way to calm down, studies suggest this is not the best idea. Give yourself enough time to get to your destination. Running late will raise anxiety and frustration levels, making you vulnerable to drastic reactions. At all costs, avoid confrontation. Find something that puts you in a good mood during the drive. This can be listening to a certain genre of music, or listening to comedy skits, or even an audiobook. But remember, organize this before you start driving. If you know that you lose your temper easily, find methods of regaining your composure. For example, good breathing exercises. Here's a saying that you might have heard often: just let it go. Do not drive in a manner that will enrage other drivers either. For example, tailgating and continually swapping lanes. Follow Master Drive slogan: drive nice, it's contagious. Many South African drivers will do their best to prevent other cars from joining their lane. Driving like this sets you up for unnecessary anger and forces other drivers to take drastic measures. Try at all costs to avoid putting yourself in a position where you need to rush. Did you know that the average traffic light change cycle is only between 5 and 10 seconds? Let's take another test. If you were driving at a distance of 50 kilometers to a destination, and you were doing a speed of 100 kilometers an hour, you would arrive in 30 minutes. Adjusting the speed to a safer speed of 80 kilometers per hour would make you arrive in 37.5 minutes. Only 7.5 minutes longer. That is half the time it takes for a hard-boiled egg. Avoid road accidents. Drive safely and always obey the road rules. One of the main dangers on any site is the heavy machinery used for various projects, including the use of personal vehicles to get to and from a work site, as we've just seen. But safely operating these machines and vehicles is of utmost importance. On a construction site, collisions in this workplace due to motorized vehicles is one of the highest causes of fatalities. According to FEM, in 2015, there were 7,721 injuries nationally. This resulted in 61 fatalities, 603 permanently disabled persons, and 34,385 lost man days. Western Cape only had one fatality in 2015, compared with 12 in KZN, 29 in the Gauteng region, 11 in the Free State, 3 in the Eastern Cape, and 5 in the Northern Boland. Undoubtedly, one fatality is one too many, and we should be striving for 0 fatalities and 0 harm, a target that FEM believes is achievable. One of the most important ways to increase safety is by ensuring that all your employees are well trained on the equipment they are operating. These machines are highly technical, and each one has its own scope and attributes. You must understand your equipment before you even put your hands on the controls. Otherwise, disasters are bound to happen. The Occupational Health and Safety Act at Section 8.2e says that all employers must provide such information, instruction, training, and supervision as may be necessary to ensure, as far as is reasonably practicable, the health and safety at work of his employees. Each machine has thousands of moving parts or more, and each needs to be in peak condition before it can do the job. Properly inspecting your machines and knowing they are up to par is crucial to ensuring safety. Regular inspections of your machines can avoid accidents and injuries that lead to emergency situations. The Occupational Health and Safety Act, Section 8.2i, states that employers must ensure that work is performed and that plant or machinery is used under the general supervision of a person trained to understand the hazards associated with it and who have the authority to ensure that precautionary measures taken by the employer are implemented. There will always be deadlines on any project, which is why you experience stress to get the project done. Unfortunately, one of the largest causes of accidents on construction sites is due to people moving too quickly. Avoiding an injury or accident is as easy as taking your time and making sure you're being safe and smart about the machines you're using. Rushing on the job is sure to lead to accidents, so don't let the stress of the deadline get to you. Consider slowing it down a bit. Always pay attention. On the job, there are dozens of distractions at any given moment because of everything going on around you. A leading cause of mishaps on a construction site involves workers not paying attention to the task at hand. Staying focused on what you're doing and the machine you're operating saves you from mistakes, and it saves lives. Stay on task and you'll stay safe. In all aspects of life, communication is perhaps the most important way to drive results and meet deadlines. When working with heavy machinery, communication is just as important. Creating safety policies and procedures for your machines and making sure you constantly communicate them can save lives and money in the long run. Stay on top of workers who are not working with safety procedures in mind and make sure they know all of your policies and procedures. There are many tasks that can cause injuries on a worksite, such as falls from scaffolding or high places, hazards in excavation jobs, and electrical mishaps. Work-related deaths are a real possibility when working in many environments, and moving vehicles can often be one of the main causes of these tragedies. Staying knowledgeable and safe with your equipment is a positive way to make sure you're protecting yourself and your co-workers. There are even courses you can take to review your safety knowledge, so you can stay up to date on the latest safety protocols and ensure that you are staying safe throughout the course of the project. Work sites can be hazardous places and accidents can happen at any minute. But if you stay safe, pay attention, and understand your equipment, your job will remain hazard-free and rewarding.